Hey there, and welcome back to Utility Sports. Today's video, we are going to be doing a New York Jets mock draft, and this is coming after the whole Sam Darnold trade. I'm not exactly sure if the picks will be updated on the site, but we can go ahead and talk about the 4 rounds for the New York Jets. We will go ahead and jump right into the video. First goes Trevor Lawrence, now sitting at number 2. Is this clear and obvious who the quarterback should be that they take?
Yeah, I think it has to be pretty obvious. We had talked here on the channel for months now at this point. Are they for sure going to go quarterback? We had thought, yes, they will. Now at this point, it is clear they traded Sam Darnold. It's going to be a quarterback, and it's going to be Zack Wilson out of BYU. I absolutely love what he brings. As a Jets fan myself, I am ecstatic for this selection. I usually don't get excited about a lot of college quarterbacks coming into the NFL, especially when they're rumored to the New York Jets. Usually I am a little bit slower to jump onto that bandwagon. Zack Wilson, I'm all in on, though. I think that he's going to be the second best quarterback in this class, right behind Trevor Lawrence. I think there's a chance he could be the second best player from this class. Right now, I have him as a top 7 player in the class overall, and I think that he's a very good prospect. Austin, what's your thoughts on Zack Wilson?
For me personally, I like Zack Wilson because he is mobile in the pocket. He does extend plays. He definitely has the arm strength to hit every throw at every level. The thing is, he just had kind of a very, very easy schedule throughout the entire year. That's not his fault. I mean, he played the schedule, he dominated the schedule, obviously had a phenomenal season. One of those late risers. Obviously, at the start of the year, people were really not aware of what, Zack Wilson was, but he played himself into a top 5 lock. And now I think it's almost a guaranteed lock that he's the second overall pick. So for me personally, Zack Wilson's going to be the selection. So as we can see, a lot of the quarterbacks are going to be going in that top 10. And at this point, I think Jets fans should be pretty happy with that selection of Zack Wilson. I know a lot of people do like him. At 23, there's an obvious need at corner. There's an obvious need at edge. I think you would argue that the corner is the number one need, but let's go ahead and take a look at what is available for us. Caleb Farley magically falls to 23. I think a lot of us that are watching would say that he is the best player available at that spot. I think it's pretty clear and obvious what we have to do here, right?
Right. I think so as well. I was looking at Jalen Phillips. He was exciting to me. I didn't expect Caleb Farley to still be on. I was kind of watching for his name there on the left, but with how fast it was going, I did not see if he went or not. With him here on the board, he has to be the pick. He's falling a little bit because of the injury to his back. I'm not concerned about that long term for him. When you're making a selection here in the first round, you need to be a little wary of some of these things. But at the same time, when you're a team like the New York Jets, you need to go find high impact players. And I think Caleb Farley has the potential to be the cornerback 1 from this class. Even him and Surtain, I think, are 1-2 for most people. And I think Farley, when he's healthy at the end of the day, he's going to be a phenomenal cornerback at a very big time need for the New York Jets.
Yeah, and he is very, very inexperienced actually at that cornerback spot. Has not been playing the position long, but I think long term, you can have him, working with NFL coaches and just you can really teach him up. He has the athleticism, he has the ball skills, which is really, really important at that cornerback position, obviously to force turnovers in that sense. The one thing we'd like to see him clean up a little bit is tackling, but that's to be expected. He hasn't played corner very long. He needs to clean that up just a little bit, but I think all the tools are there, very fluid hips. I love him as a prospect, and it's clear and obvious he needs to be the pick here at 23 for the New York Jets. Moving on to pick 34, let's take a look overall at what the big board has to offer for us. At this point, Javonte Williams is there, Jason Away, who is an athletic freak, Christian Barmore. Let's kind of look at that wide receiver position, Rondale Moore, Elijah Moore, both there for the New York Jets. Where do you want them to go?
At this point, I just don't necessarily love the wide receiver position in terms of selecting one at this point. You're looking at Elijah Moore probably operating out of the slot. Same with Rondale Moore. And I just think at this point, with Jamison Crowder still being under contract for this year, I think we need to look other areas of this football team. Running back Javonte Williams does jump out to me as a good option here. However, I'm not sure if I necessarily love grabbing him with the strength of the running back class later on. Austin, if you would go look at the edge position, I think that's one position we really need to focus on a little bit more here. And I don't know what you think about this. Gregory Rousseau, he has a wide range of where he could go in the draft. Some people think he could be still a top 20 pick. Some people see him falling into the back end of the second round. Austin, what's your thoughts on Rousseau and his possible fit with the New York Jets?
I think that would be a phenomenal fit. Obviously, I don't really understand why there is such a variation on him. He had the production in college. He has the physical traits. I don't think he's necessarily a great pass rusher from a technical standpoint. I think he wins with a lot of power himself, but obviously at the next level, that's not always going to translate being able to win with just raw strength because you're going against, pro guys that have pro ready bodies. But at that point, I think Gregory Rousseau offers a ton of upside. I think they're, a little low on him, and these predictive boards just go off of what they're hearing from analysts, and they kind of compile one from multiple analysts that are putting out their big boards. So I think Gregory Rousseau here at 34 is an awesome find for the Jets.
Yeah, I really love that specifically too, because of what we've been able to do this free agency period in terms of bolstering our defensive line. We went out and got Carl Lawson. He hasn't had the production yet at this point in the NFL, but I think there is some good potential for him moving forward. Also, we got Sheldon Rankins on the D-line, Vinny Curry as well. And we're looking at a much improved Jets defensive front, bringing in Gregory Rousseau. That's going to build to the strength of Robert Saleh's defense, especially if Farley does fall to us with our second pick in the first round. We've already improved our secondary greatly. We come in, grab an edge who, maybe needs a little bit of time to develop some of those pass rush moves like we were talking about. But I think Rousseau to the Jets here at 34 is the direction I would take the team myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going to be moving on now to their third round selection and kind of recapping what we have so far for the New York Jets. Absolutely love this draft. I mean, this is an A+ level draft if they are able to kind of put this together on draft night. So that's phenomenal how the board has fallen for the Jets. Now we sit here at 66. Let's kind of reevaluate our options where we're sitting. Baron Browning, Jabril Cox. I think it's pretty clear out of this list right here. I don't even need to scroll further on who the pick should be.
Yeah, I agree with you. Jabril Cox is a guy I would actually even consider all the way up at pick 34 if we didn't see Gregory Rousseau still there on the board. I think Jabril Cox is a guy who's going to come in and be a phenomenal linebacker. He's going to be the best or second best pass coverage linebacker in this class, in my estimation. He's going to be very athletic. I think he was clocked at a peak speed of nearly 22 miles per hour for LSU this past season. He's athletic. He can play the pass game. The Jets badly need someone who's going to come in, complement CJ Mosley, and Jabril Cox is the perfect answer to do that. We saw what Fred Warner was able to become for Robert Saleh's defense over the past few years. I'm not suggesting that Jabril Cox is going to be quite that, but it is very important to have a playmaker in the middle of that defense. I love Jabril Cox here. Austin, what's your thoughts?
Jabril Cox was the shining star in that LSU defense, despite the entire team really crumbling around him this season. I love his fit with the Jets. I think his pass cover ability is almost second to none in this class. He's been a phenomenal talent coming from North Dakota State University as the transfer. He really took a leadership role for that LSU defense this year. I love him as a prospect, and I don't think he's going to last this long all the way to 66.
Yeah, I would be surprised as well. Now, the one thing looking at this draft, we haven't been able to find a playmaker yet for Zack Wilson. You have to be looking at it with the eyes that, okay, Corey Davis, we brought in free agency. We have Jamison Crowder. Now we need to improve that tight end position somehow, some way. It's just going to be tough in this draft to really do it. I don't think either of us love the value at tight end if it isn't a guy named Kyle Pitts. Like looking at the board here, there's just not a lot of guys that are worth grabbing after you're outside the top 10 if you're not grabbing Kyle Pitts in this year's class. I know Pat Freiermuth, some people really like, but however, with the picks at 23 and 34, this feels like a little bit of a reach for me at those points. It's just hard to find some of those positions here now in round 3, Austin. There's a few I see you liking and one I like as well on this list quite a bit. Austin, what's your thoughts here at 86?
There's a couple of playmakers that all sit here at pick 86. Once again, I don't know the likelihood that some of these guys will be here. Tylan Wallace being one of my favorite receivers in the entire class. I think he's being extremely slept on, phenomenal in contested catch situations, has great awareness of the sideline, phenomenal player out of Oklahoma State. Michael Carter's a guy you really like, compact back, small back, but he's very, very shifty. He's also kind of like a little bowling ball. His game is a little reminiscent of James Robinson after kind of watching them. And then Kenneth Gainwell is another guy that could be really, really helpful for the Jets in passing situations. He's a phenomenal route runner, arguably the best hands of all the backs in this class. So there's a lot of variety in terms of what kind of playmaker you want.
Yeah, definitely. Looking at this, it's kind of hard for me to make a decision because I think wide receivers, I know they have it listed as a higher need than running back, but at the same time, I actually disagree with that. I think running back is a little bit higher of a need for the Jets. Right now, we have Ty Johnson, LaMichael Pirine as our lead dogs. That's just not going to get the job done in the NFL, to be completely honest with you. But at the same time, it's not like our wide receiver room is fully set either. I'm not as high on Corey Davis as others are. I definitely see the need for wide receiver still at this point, but it is a little bit more complicated because we have Denzel Mims, who was a second-round pick last year, and Jamison Crowder on the last year of his deal. Austin, which direction do you want to take the Jets here at 86?
So obviously, I think Tylan Wallace is my favorite prospect of the group that is available. However, I think Michael Carter is the best fit. They need to have an established run game. I think Kenneth Gainwell, he's a good back. Don't get me wrong, but I think Michael Carter's a better pure runner than Kenneth Gainwell. I think Kenneth Gainwell is a little more specialized in what you want him to do, kind of that gadgety weapon guy. I think Michael Carter could be a guy that for sure will take the two running downs, but maybe could eventually turn into that 3-down complete back.
Right. And that's going to be such a big need there too in Mike LaFleur's offense coming over from San Francisco. We know how much it was an importance there for the 49ers to run the football, really establish the ground game. I think that's going to be a big time aspect here for the New York Jets moving forward too, with new offensive coordinator and under head coach Robert Saleh. He's going to want to control the time of possession. He's going to want to control the game all in all. And I think going with a running back who can really pound the rock is a great fit for my New York Jets. Now at 107, Austin, I'm looking here. What position do you think is the biggest need at this point? We haven't even touched the offensive line yet either. I think that could be something worth looking at as well. Jay Tufele is actually still on the board here as well too. Pretty interesting how this board has fallen out.
Yeah, I don't know the likelihood that they go with a guy like Jay Tufele, despite him. At some points in the year, we thought that he could be a first-round pick. And it's really unfortunate. Some of these opt-out guys, they just weren't really able to establish themselves during the year. And then as time goes on, the further we get away from when they last played football, I mean, their value drops. So clearly that's happening with Gregory Rousseau. That happened with Jay Tufele. And it's unfortunate for them. However, I mean, there's a benefit to playing, right? I mean, teams want to see on the field. So kind of looking at what we have, it's tough. I think that tight end is a huge need for the New York Jets. I'm not ready to take any of these tight ends. I think that they could wait and take a guy like Quentin Morris. I watched a little bit of Quentin Morris during that Senior Bowl. Kind of liked what I saw, but I don't think he's worth selecting in the 4th round at this point. Wide receiver position, a couple of interesting players. Dez Fitzpatrick, he really showed out during the Senior Bowl. He's somebody that I would keep on my radar at that point. And kind of looking at the tackle spot, Walker Little was once regarded as almost a for sure lock at that tackle position. I think he could be a really, really fun project, left tackle or right tackle for the New York Jets. Obviously, I think he would have to play that right tackle spot, considering Mekhi Becton is anchoring down the left tackle spot.
Right. It really comes down to how Joe Douglas does want to build out this draft as well. I think Walker Little playing that right tackle spot makes some sense. Maybe you give him a year to come in, try and get some of that production out of him that they saw early on that he could maybe become. Give him some time. We still have George Fant at right tackle. We could give Walker Little a little bit of time to progress. And I think he could also be a quality guard with what his physicals really provide. I think that could be something where Walker Little maybe kicks into guard earlier on in his career to kind of develop a little bit yet and fit into the NFL early on. The interesting thing too that you mentioned was all the opt-outs. That's why this draft's going to be one of the most interesting in recent years. You guys are going to have to be subscribed so you don't miss out on any of our content. We will be going live during the NFL draft, giving our instant reactions, grades to the picks and everything. So you guys are going to want to be around here for those. Austin, I'm going to leave it up to you here at 107. Where should the Jets go?
I think it's important for this New York Jet team to kind of round out the roster a little bit. I really like Walker Little's upside here. I think that what really held him back was his injury, and he really did not reestablish himself very well. However, you give him a little bit of time. I think Walker Little is a very, very high upside pick and a riskier pick. However, when you're a team like Jacksonville or New York, you have to take some of these big time risks. I think this is definitely a worthwhile investment for the New York Jets.
Yeah, one thing to watch too as we kind of go throughout this process, it does not seem like Marcus May is very happy with Sam Darnold getting traded today. He did tweet on Twitter. He used an emoji that was suggesting that he was not happy with the move. So possibly safety could find its way playing into the mix. Austin, if you want to pull up what we went and grabbed here for the New York Jets, I think that this was a very strong draft. All in all, I'd probably give this draft an A or A+ at this point. What's your thoughts on their pull?
Yeah, I think this is definitely an A-level draft. I absolutely am in love with the first four picks. I think pick 86 was kind of that interesting point where we had to make a very tough decision. Obviously, I think Michael Carter would fit in really, really well with the Jets, and he was just a better pure fit than Kenneth Gainwell. And then finally at 107, the only thing that's really preventing this from being an A plus level draft is, Walker Little could be bad. He definitely could be a bust at that 107. However, he offers tremendous upside for the New York Jets, and they need to add to that offensive line.
Yeah, they badly do. And I think that this is an interesting thing. Joe Douglas last year did not prove himself to be a guy who rounds 3 through 7 can hit on a lot of picks. So we'll see if he can turn it around this year. Maybe try and really start building up this Jets team with all the assets we have. We also have a ton of picks next year. Thank you guys again so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy today's mock draft video for the New York Jets. Comment below if there's any teams you would like us to do a team mock draft for. We can definitely get those out for you guys. Thank you guys so much again, and we'll catch you in the very next video.